Confuse them with your silence. Silence creates mystery. When you stay silent, others may not be sure of your thoughts or intentions, leading them to second-guess themselves. Gives you control. Silence can shift the power dynamic in a conversation as it forces others to fill the gap, often revealing more information than they intended. Avoid unnecessary conflict. Silence can prevent escalation, allowing you to avoid arguments or disputes that aren't worth engaging in. Allows for strategic thinking. By not responding immediately, silence gives you time to process information and make more calculated decisions or responses. Non-verbal communication speaks volumes. Silence, paired with body language, can send strong signals, often more powerful than words, such as disapproval, contemplation, or confidence. When you choose to remain silent, it can create an air of mystery around you. People are naturally curious about what others are thinking, and when you withhold your thoughts, it stirs their imagination. Silence leaves room for interpretation, and others may begin to wonder what you're thinking, why you're not speaking, or what your silence implies. This uncertainty can lead them to make assumptions or overanalyze the situation. The lack of clear communication on your part forces them to fill in the gaps, often projecting their own thoughts or fears onto you. As a result, you become more enigmatic in their eyes, someone who is hard to read or predict. This unpredictability can make people feel unsettled because they don't know how to gauge your next move. In many social or professional interactions, this sense of mystery can work to your advantage. People tend to respect or even fear what they don't fully understand, and your silence can be a tool to cultivate that sense of ambiguity. It also allows you to maintain an upper hand in conversations, as others are unsure of your stance or intentions, keeping them off balance. By not revealing everything right away, you make people wait, wonder, and sometimes overthink. This subtle form of psychological pressure can give you greater control over the situation, allowing you to respond thoughtfully when you choose to speak. By choosing silence in certain situations, you can subtly shift the balance of power in your favor. Conversations, especially in high-stakes or emotional settings, often involve some give-and-take dynamic, where people rush to fill in the gaps with words. When you deliberately withhold your thoughts and refrain from speaking, it creates a pause, a moment of uncertainty for the other person. In that silence, they might feel compelled to continue talking, often sharing more than they originally intended. This is because silence is uncomfortable for many, and they may rush to fill it, inadvertently giving you more information or revealing their true thoughts and feelings. Your silence can force others to question themselves, their statements, or their strategies. They may start wondering whether you disagree with them, if you're withholding judgment, or if you possess some critical piece of information that they're not aware of. This sense of uncertainty can lead them to second-guess their actions, giving you the upper hand in the interaction. Instead of reacting immediately or emotionally, silence allows you to remain composed and thoughtful, giving you the time to assess the situation and choose your next move carefully. Moreover, by maintaining control over your responses, you avoid being drawn into unnecessary arguments or emotional traps. Often, people try to provoke reactions or get a rise out of others through emotional appeals or confrontational statements. By remaining silent, you deny them that satisfaction and prevent yourself from being manipulated or coerced into saying something you might regret. Silence can also convey confidence and some self-assurance, signaling that you are not easily swayed or pressured. In negotiations or tense discussions, this can be a particularly powerful tactic. The ability to stay calm and silent while others become increasingly agitated can give you the leverage to steer the conversation in a direction that benefits you. It allows you to keep your emotions in check and ensures that when you do speak, your words carry more weight, as they will be seen as deliberate and thoughtful rather than impulsive or reactionary. Ultimately, silence can be a form of quiet control, where you dictate the pace and tone of the conversation without needing to assert yourself overtly. In many situations, silence can serve as a powerful tool to avoid unnecessary conflict, allowing you to maintain peace and composure in potentially volatile conversations. When people engage in disagreements or heated exchanges, they often feel the need to immediately defend their position, argue their point, or react emotionally. However, speaking too quickly or out of impulse can escalate tensions and turn a minor misunderstanding into a full-blown conflict. Silence, on the other hand, can act as a buffer, giving both you and the other person time to cool down and reassess the situation before it spirals out of control. When you choose silence, you are consciously deciding not to feed into the emotional energy of the moment. Often arguments are fueled by back and forth exchanges where both sides feel compelled to outtop the other. By not participating in this cycle, you allow the situation to de-escalate naturally. Your silence can signal that you're not interested in engaging in a fruitless argument, or that you're taking the time to thoughtfully consider what has been said rather than responding in a reactive manner. This can have a calming effect on others as it shifts the tone of the conversation away from confrontation and towards resolution. In some cases, silence can also demonstrate a level of maturity and restraint that words cannot. When emotions run high, especially in personal or professional relationships, it's easy to say things that are hurtful or damaging. Choosing not to respond in the heat of the moment shows that you are in control of your emotions and are not willing to let the situation escalate. It sends the message that you value the relationship or the issue at hand enough to approach it thoughtfully rather than recklessly. Furthermore, silence allows you to rise above petty arguments or disagreements that may not be worth your energy. Not every confrontation requires a response. Sometimes people provoke others simply to get a reaction, whether it's out of frustration, anger, or a desire to assert dominance. By remaining silent, you refuse to give them that power. This can be particularly effective in professional settings, where responding to every challenge or critique can reflect poorly on your ability to maintain professionalism. Silence, in these cases, allows you to keep your dignity intact, avoiding unnecessary drama and focusing on what truly matters. Additionally, silence gives you time to reflect on whether a response is even necessary. Not all conflicts require verbal engagement. Sometimes the best course of action is to simply let the issue pass without fueling it with more words. This doesn't mean that you're avoiding the issue entirely, but rather choosing a more measured approach to handle it. Silence gives you the space to decide whether it's worth addressing or if it's something that can be resolved on its own. Choosing silence in moments of tension or complexity allows you to engage in strategic thinking, a practice that can significantly improve decision-making and problem-solving. In a fast-paced world where people often feel pressured to respond quickly, silence gives you the opportunity to slow down, reflect, and think critically about the situation at hand. By not rushing into a response, you create space to consider your options, weigh the pros and cons of different actions, and anticipate the potential outcomes of your decisions. When you remain silent, you are not distracted by the need to immediately formulate a reply. Instead, you can focus on observing the nuances of the situation, the emotions, body language, and underlying motivations of the people involved. This heightened awareness allows you to gather valuable information that you might otherwise miss if you were too focused on speaking. Silence gives you the ability to listen more intently, both to what is being said and what is left unsaid. Often the most important insights are revealed through nonverbal cues or subtle shifts in tone, and by staying quiet, you position yourself to notice these details. Strategic thinking also involves assessing the broader context of a situation. Silence enables you to take a step back and view the issue from different angles. Rather than reacting impulsively, you can ask yourself key questions. What are the long-term implications of this decision? How might my words or actions affect my relationship with this person or group? What's the most effective way to achieve my goals without causing unnecessary harm or conflict? Silence gives you the time to ponder these questions and come up with a response that aligns with your values and objectives. In situations where emotions run high, silence can be particularly beneficial for strategic thinking. When people are emotionally charged, they often make decisions based on immediate feelings rather than rational thought. By choosing to remain silent, you give yourself time to process your emotions and prevent them from clouding your judgment. You can separate the emotional aspect of the situation from the logical, allowing you to approach the issue with a clearer mind. This calm, measured approach often leads to more thoughtful and effective solutions. Silence can also help you anticipate the reactions of others. In negotiations, for example, silence can serve as a tactic to encourage the other party to reward information or yield more information or to reconsider their position. When you don't immediately respond, the other person may feel the need to elaborate or clarify their stance, offering you valuable insights that you can use to your advantage. This ability to patiently wait and listen, rather than rush into a response, can give you a strategic edge, allowing you to craft a more persuasive or advantageous reply. In many interactions, the absence of words can convey just as much, if not more, than verbal communication. Nonverbal communication, your facial expressions, body language, gestures, eye contact, and posture can send powerful messages that words alone cannot always express. When you choose to remain silent, you allow these nonverbal cues to speak for you, and in doing so, you can often convey complex emotions and thoughts without uttering a single word. Silence paired with nonverbal communication can be a highly effective way to express confidence, contemplation, displeasure, or even empathy. For instance, consider how eye contact can change the meaning of silence. When someone maintains steady eye contact without speaking, it can signal confidence, authority, or an invitation for the other person to continue speaking. It can make others feel heard and understood, as if you are giving them your full attention. On the other hand, avoiding eye contact while remaining silent can indicate discomfort, shyness, or a lack of confidence. In this way, the simple act of where you direct your gaze during silence can dramatically alter how your silence is interpreted. Body language plays an equally significant role. Your posture, the way you hold your hands, or the distance you maintain from others while remaining silent can all convey different messages. Sitting upright and leaning slightly forward while listening to someone, for example, indicates that you are engaged and interested in what they have to say, even if you don't immediately respond. In contrast, crossing your arms, slouching, or turning away from someone while remaining silent can communicate disinterest, frustration, or even hostility. The absence of words in these moments does not equate to the absence of communication. Your body is still speaking on your behalf. Facial expressions are another key element of nonverbal communication that often work in tandem with silence. A raised eyebrow, a subtle smile, a frown, or even a blank expression can convey a wide range of emotions and reactions. When words are withheld, these small expressions become amplified. For example, a slight smile during a moment of silence can indicate that you are considering something amusing or that you appreciate the other person's perspective, even if you choose not to voice your thoughts. A furrowed brow, meanwhile, may suggest that you are deep in thought or confused, signaling to the other person that their point may need further clarification.